Well, what's up, everybody? Welcome to IGN Game Scoop. I'm your host, Damon Hatfield. Joining me this week is Justin Davis,
Scoop.
Sam Claiborne,
Hey, everybody.
and Mark Medina.
Hello.
We've got a great show for you this week. We're going to talk a little bit about this new era of Marvel console games we're in now.
All one of them?
Yep, all one of them.
Yep.
We're going to talk about this insanity that happened over at Telltale over the weekend. But first, this is episode 499.
What?
Wow.
Yep.
We should do something for 500.
You're right. We should start thinking about that.
Yeah.
We'll put something together.
Not.
Mark, are we all set for next week?
I mean, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
No, that's not the answer.
All right, let's start the episode
Here's
over.
what I decided. is
Mark,
the best
are we
thing-
ready for next week?
Yeah, totally. It's going to be
Nope,
amazing.
let's try it again.
We will be.
See, Justin was talking through me. I was moving my mouth, but it was Justin's voice. The best thing to do is just wait till the day of the show and just see if everything goes good.
Just wing it. I think we're just going to wing
so,
it.
I'll let you know at 5:01 if it went well.
Okay. Or if it's going to go well.
No, it's going to be great. It's gonna be good
we're
fun.
very excited to host all of you here at the IGN office next week. But let's get to the news of this week. We found, Spider-Man is out now on PlayStation 4. Everybody seems to be really enjoying it.
Yes.
Huge success. Two big exclusives for PS4 this year. That and God of War, both are really big hits. But now Marvel actually has big plans for Marvel video games going forward. They're looking at this as like the Iron Man, the 2008 Iron Man. That's
But-
sort of what?
To clarify,
Yes?
because that's a very misleading quote. It's
Whoa.
not kicking off a shared video game universe. They only mean, it's the Iron Man for games in the sense that, like, okay, we made a big game that everybody liked.
And they're going to make more of them.
Yeah, but they're not saying they're going to share as a universe. So I think half the people that read that quote took it wrong. They're not
They're
going.
saying
They're not going to be connected.
This is the
Well,
new
they-
era of good Marvel games.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's that, yeah.
exactly.
But
That's
I mean,
that's
certainly,
the only context in which.
But
they
in the
meant it.
middle of that era, the X-Men movies were good.
Yeah.
well, no, actually, before that era, I think.
Right before?
Before 2008.
2008
when
probably
Oh,
was
yeah.
a bad
X-Men movies
X-Men
were
movie
good,
at
yeah.
that point, yeah.
But they haven't said they're not going to be connected, have they?
Yes, they have.
They have. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I didn't see that part. So they've come out. They've gotten ahead of it and said these are not going to be a.
So we only know one other. It's the Avengers
VGU.
game. Is that right?
Square Enix has their Avengers project.
Screen
So
says-
that Avengers game, is that the thing they're referring to is not going to be connected to Spider-Man?
I mean-
or is it just vague, like they can't all be connected?
Yeah, they're just not connected. Like they're taking it on a case by case basis, like whatever's right for the game, right?
Yeah,
Like when there
sure.
was the Guardians Telltale project, like, are you going to get the movie cast or cast voice actors? And they were sort of like, well, we'll take it as it comes. Like,
Yeah. I'm sure. So they had Spider-Man. They've already greenlit the Avengers game. I'm sure they're kind of waiting to see how Spider-Man did before they greenlit other games. And I bet you in the past few weeks, more than one other Marvel game has gotten the green light
Yeah.
to go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What could they be?
Well, what could they be? What would you want them to be? Is a better question.
Just more of that Spider-Man game.
Just more Spider. You just want a sequel to Spider-Man?
I mean, it's really interesting. I don't know how the ensemble games work. Are going
like
to work.
Avengers? Like
yeah,
Avengers?
because I really liked focusing on the one character and one character. I mean, the Batman games, right?
Yeah.
Those are the best superhero games ever. And I think that it's really cool to think about Spider-Man and Spider-Man's universe stuff. And Marvel has that for sure. It's just I don't know what they're going to go for next.
I remember how cool Hulk Ultimate Destruction was. That was a really good game.
People liked the
So
game.
it's
I've never
similar
played
to
that one, but I
Spider-Man.
know people mentioned that because that was in no wait, who did that one? The guys that did Prototype.
I don't know.
I don't know, but I think it was related to Spider-Man, right? Because like the Ultimate Spider-Man came right after that. But it was a city, and you could hop around and mess with stuff. And like that, and Crackdown was a similar game from the same time. And I really think that's a good way to do superhero games. But so many Marvel heroes don't lend themselves to that. Like crazy stuff like Silver Surfer or
but
like stuff like that.
I mean,
it's all in
Marvel-
space now and all crazy.
Marvel's taking their time where, they're not in a big rush. They've been making hit movies for 10 years now, and they took that long. The moment that Insomniac and Spider-Man was announced, everyone's like, oh, it's perfect. Like, that's the exact right
exactly.
fit. And so that's like that's what they want for every single thing that they announce. It's like exactly match the right studio and the right team to the right Marvel property and just like have those stars align moments.
Yeah.
Maybe after Anthem, people will think, hey, there's a place in this universe for a really good Iron Man game.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
just because of the floating.
Just because it's like, yeah, there's been Iron Man games, they weren't that great, but Anthem kind of looks like an Iron Man game.
The Iron Man game that came out alongside the movie was pretty good. We gave it like a 6 or 7, I think, and
Pretty good.
It had a good. It was a linear game, but kind of like with Battlefield type levels, like bigger levels.
Oh, I see.
And so
Yeah.
it's kind of like like that would work with like maybe I was thinking about what kind of linear games could work with Marvel, and like if it was like that, like Halo, where you get in vehicles, you can mess with
Right,
stuff,
right,
but then
right.
you went to another area, that might be okay.
It's kind of it's like here's this giant level, and then it's like very obvious when the next level has started.
Yeah, that might work. And then the other big thing after playing Tomb Raider is like an Uncharted type game, and that is like a Telltale Guardians, but it's more fun.
I was thinking Black Widow would be good for a game.
Yeah,
like
I was just thinking that when you
could
said
be-
Uncharted, I'm like, yeah, so something like
something where
Black
you have to be
Widow,
really stealthy and she's traveling to different locations, infiltrating environments. That would be really fun.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I think.
Yeah, maybe sneaking would pair well, like Batman has that, with some of the Marvel characters.
Yeah. Of course, Spider-Man's a big open world game.
My favorite characters are X-Men, and I want to see those characters in a good game. But like, aside from Marvel vs. Capcom, like, what are they going to do?
They should make X-Men Arcade 2.
Yeah, the arcade game where you just bash people up.
It's like everyone still talks about that game. It's like 25 years old at least, probably, right?
It's a cool game, and the cabinet's like this wide.
It's great.
Like
They brought all those arcade
people.
games out last generation on like Xbox Live Arcade and PSN, but they didn't ever make a sequel to any of them, did they? Like they made a new Marvel vs. Capcom last year. That didn't turn out very well. But I think they could make a sequel to like that X-Men cabinet. Or,
Yeah, it's also funny, Marvel Games has had game partnerships already, right? Like the Marvel vs. Capcom was 3. It was obviously it's the third game in a long-running storied fighting game franchise, but that was overseen by the new Marvel Games publishing label. Like they were the ones that worked with Capcom to like make that game happen and Guardians, and so they're sort of like, okay. Like, look, no, Spider-Man, that's the start of us. Like, this is what we're going to be moving forward. Don't pay as much attention to those other projects that we licensed out.
Yeah.
So, Damon, you love the Punisher.
I do love the Punisher.
What would be a good Punisher game?
I think you could do an open world in New York style Punisher
like
game.
Crackdown, kind of.
Give it to the
Well, except
Explodey
you're not
Sam
going to be like jumping. You're not like leaping over buildings.
Well, GTA.
But having an open world where you're identifying, like, what would Punisher do? He would identify crimes that are happening. He would identify criminals, and he would target them, and he would locate them and murder them.
It's a Batman game. But with more murder.
With more murder.
A little more murder. I think like 15%, maybe 20.
It'd be more like a Far Cry game.
Well, Batman and Spider-Man supposedly don't kill people. Spider-Man killed hundreds of people.
Oh yeah,
game.
yeah.
He's
I played the game for a very long time before I noticed that when I was jumping up into the air and pounding everybody off of the skyscraper, that they were then getting caught by webs.
Yeah, supposedly.
Like, okay.
It's like in the old cartoons where they would shoot down Bugs Bunny would shoot down a plane, and then you'd see a guy in a parachute in the background. It's just like that.
Yeah.
Dude, when are we going to hear about this Avengers game? Like, we know it's the thing.
Yeah, there was even a little teaser trailer, but it didn't show any games. It
It's just
showed,
like,
names.
when are they going to unveil that game?
I'm trying to remember. I don't know if we know officially or if it's a rumor that it's like a Destiny-like, right? Like it's an online sort of shared world experience. But I'm trying to remember, like, do we know that from like job listings, or did they say that when they announced the title? And now I'm not even sure what we know and what we're just kind of speculating on.
Well, there is another Avengers movie coming in the spring. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. So I don't know. Maybe they'll want to time something around that. I just feel like it's
Taking them forever.
It's been such a long time.
Justin thought that was the end of the Avengers. He didn't
Yeah.
know there was another movie.
But I really like that movie. What a weird way to end it.
Someone pointed out I think it was an article on Cracked that Thanos' plan makes no sense. Have you guys heard this theory? So his plan is spoilers here for Avengers: Infinity War if you haven't seen it. Thanos' plan to wipe out all of humanity in the universe, all life in the universe.
Well, half of
Half of them.
Sorry. Half of it. Randomly, right?
Yeah.
Random selection. Dude, 1,000 years ago, the Earth was much less populated than it is today.
Yeah.
Would anybody say that our quality of life is worse now than it was back then?
That's funny.
As the Earth has become more populated, life has become more comfortable, and things have improved.
But they're saying that the planet's dying. Too many
I know.
humans and planets are dying.
Yep. There's also that too.
Yeah.
But
Like,
he
maybe
wipes out
stasis is
half of
good.
all farmers, scientists,
True.
doctors,
'cause they said
researchers,
that
like the people that you would need the most.
They said that Genghis Khan killed so many people, like 100 million people, that the temperature of the Earth actually lowered. So that's what he's just doing.
Yeah, but it can't be random. That's the part of it that doesn't make any sense. You want to save all the
he's
doctors,
gotta
the farmers,
choose.
and the scientists.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm
those
gonna be
are the
honest.
people-
That sounds way more evil to me than what Thanos did.
But those are the people you need for
least
life
they're
to
being
survive.
fair.
But now you're choosing, like, no, we don't need you.
we're not talking about what is good or evil. We're talking about what makes sense.
Damon
is Thanos.
Do we have a spot?
In the reality you're sketching out,
me.
all podcasters are gone.
Video game people?
We're the ones that get snapped.
Are we
Speaking
essential?
for Thanos wouldn't want to keep us around.
See, Damon's on the side of not being Thanos, but he's just trying to explain Thanos's.
That's
So
what it is.
I think
But he's being fair because he just said we're all dead.
once he has all the stones and has godlike power to manipulate reality, why doesn't he just double the resources instead?
There's that
just
too.
make double the food,
There's that too. Make some empty planets for people to live on.
right?
That's actually makes a lot of sense.
Some classy planets.
Yeah, classy planets. Anyway, we're in a new era for Marvel console games. Please be excited. Now, last Friday, some absolutely insane news broke from Telltale. Really sad news for all the people that lost their jobs there. Of course, Telltale just shut its doors immediately. All but 25 employees were immediately let go. None of them are getting their severance pay. Health insurance is out at the end of the month. It's a totally insane situation, the likes of which I don't know I've ever seen in my 12 years covering video games.
Although there is a boom and bust for all game studios, and crunch is a real problem. And this is like the worst case scenario of an industry problem, which is people are hired, they make a game, and then they don't have a job after that.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
Which is like what Hollywood is planned around. But there's nothing like that for games. You expect to work at a place for a long time, and you're not.
But it also seems indicative of something that we see happen over and over again, where a game becomes successful, and the developer or publisher, whatever it is, they double down or triple down on that and flood the market. And but people kind of get over it, and then they're stuck with all this product.
But it seems to work for Candy Crush. There's nothing wrong. But
they didn't flood the market with more Candy Crush.
The studio didn't close.
But part of it is, obviously they were not financially healthy, but on the outside looking in, they made hit games that were beloved, some of the biggest, most popular, most talked about games on earth, and then to just say, oops, everyone's out of a job. It's again, I don't know the internal workings of what did it cost to get the Walking Dead license or Game of Thrones license or Batman. That stuff's not cheap. Minecraft. And that does mean they didn't own the intellectual property for their own games, which is a problem for them as a business as well. So again, with the caveat that that context I am lacking, on the outside looking in, it seems very mismanaged, right? That you could have games
for sure.
that are that popular and beloved and well liked and just in that echelon of video games that everybody cares about, and still just completely blow up your business.
Yeah,
but I don't know if the doubling down is a problem, because I just think of the companies that do that, like EA with their sports games, and
no, I'm thinking of Rock Band and Guitar Hero.
Oh well, that's true.
That's what I'm thinking about.
But that's a really good point, because there's a way that it's just hard to predict.
Too
trends.
much. There were so many music games coming out every single year.
But did that burn us out of music games, or did we all just get tired of music games, even if there would have been half of as many?
Well, but then if there were half as many, there wouldn't have been as much. If they hadn't put so many resources into them, then when everyone got tired and moved on, it wouldn't have been as much of a.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I did get bored with the Telltale type of game.
Oh, for sure.
But I know but they still had good writing, and they still had cool topics and stuff. So what did they need to do? Would it cost them more money to develop an action game or something? It's really hard to say for me, what their choices were.
Yeah, for me, I just sort of I felt like I got the thing that they did, and then I kind of got over it. They didn't really innovate in their gameplay, even though they were still telling really cool stories. But Telltale had a really long history before Walking Dead.
Not really long, but
they made,
Sam,
10 years.
Max.
But yeah,
was it really?
Yeah, they were Back
to the Future, Jurassic
Park. When I started at IGN in 2006, they were sort of a new developer.
And then Walking Dead was when?
Later, not
much
years later.
I think first 2011, 2012. I want to say, because I already
they did Strong Bad's cool game. For
that's right.
people.
And that was probably
really
before you started.
And,
no, that was after I reviewed those games.
They got Monkey Island, right?
They got Monkey Island.
It's crazy.
They did Wallace and Gromit. They did Bone. They did a game on Bone.
That was maybe the really early one that I remember.
And they were really traditional. They were much more traditional point-and-click games that had inventory systems and puzzles. And then even if you go back and play Walking Dead Season 1, it's very puzzly. It's not an interactive story where you're making choices and going down a branching path. I mean, it's also that. But you would stop and have puzzle scenes you had to solve. And then they just sort of excised that from their design in the future.
And they experimented with their own IP with the Puzzle Agent.
I really
games,
liked Puzzle Agent.
Which I think started on mobile, or at least or always mobile.
So weird and Twin Peaksy. And
I remember going to a preview event for that game. And then their first big like movie licenses that I think they collected were Jurassic Park and Back to the Future, which came out sort of close to each other around the same time.
Were those before or after Walking Dead season?
Those are before. Yeah, because then it was Walking Dead, where everyone was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing."
And Walking Dead was the hottest thing on Earth at the time.
Exactly.
Too.
Yeah,
it just matched up really well.
They also had that shaky ground. They did after Walking Dead season 1, but before Telltale became, Telltale, like the studio that made hit after hit. Like they had that middle ground. They did a Law and Order game after Walking Dead.
They did like
1.
some and I think they did maybe CSI. Like they were doing that sort of like pro bono work, not pro bono, but like for hire for hire.
But,
opposite of pro bono.
Yep. Anyway, I thought that news was absolutely insane. It's very sad.
I mean, it's still unfolding, right? And
it's actually
taking
still
them
unfolding.
to task. Like,
There's
hey, good news, fans. Maybe we'll be able to finish the season of Walking Dead.
We found
after
some
all.
funding to finish the season. It's like, well, why don't you pay your employees first?
But now there's like class action.
Now there's a class action lawsuit.
It's like every day there's a new threat.
I think there is a federal law, a law that's even stronger in California, that if you are going to have mass layoffs with no severance, you have to give your employees 60 days notice. So that's what this class action lawsuit.
But there's no money to. It's
it's
really sad.
I know.
But I do think there's like a boom and bust thing with development right now that is just really hard on people that are involved in that industry, and those are the things we love, and those are the things we like to play. And there's like that's a serious problem with our industry right now that I don't know how it's going to get solved.
Yeah.
I mean,
us just purchasing games and enjoying them and talking about them is not going to solve it. It's for the people making them to figure out. It sucks.
It sounds like what happened with Telltale is they had some, funding issues and some deals they thought were going to come through, and they were going to get around to financing, and then like 2 or 3 things, didn't come through and fell apart all at once, and then that just caused the company to collapse. Like they didn't have the money to continue operating. So businesses go out of business all the time. Like you just can't, the things change and you don't have the money to operate anymore. But for their position to be like so tenuous, we're like, to go from okay, we're fine to okay, we're out of business, like to ride that knife edge feels incredibly irresponsible. Like people didn't have a sense that the situation was as dire as it was.
They suffered layoffs like a year ago.
That's
when
true.
They got their new CEO. They laid off like a ton of people.
Yeah.
And then it seemed like the crunch is going to slow down, and then they announced Wolf Among Us 2, Walking Dead, Stranger Things. This Minecraft Netflix thing, and then next thing you know, it's just like they're
my thought again, like on the outside looking in, where it's like Telltale felt a little shaky, and then when I saw the Netflix news, like Netflix is partnered with Telltale to make games that will run on Netflix. Right. I'm like, that just saved the company, right?
Yeah. Yep. That seemed to be their like golden ticket, but no, apparently not. We have an email here from Jason who says, so with the tragic news of Telltale shuttering its studio and how it was done, after getting over that shock, I'm left with the question, what happens to any revenue generated from the sale of Telltale's legacy games moving forward? If there is no company, who gets the money if another 125,000 copies of Walking Dead are sold?
Well, Telltale's still a company, aren't they? Like they
for now.
still employ
but if
people.
There'll be a fire sale.
Still,
they would
money to pay back, or
Tell us the tale of THQ, Justin.
Yeah. I mean that's exactly.
Normally, if a studio went out of business, they would sell off their properties.
Yeah, there'll be
They don't own anything.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
None of
their business model has to be like a rev share, where then they sell a copy of Walking Dead. They give the owner of The Walking Dead some money, and then they keep some money.
Maybe. Right. I mean, we don't know. This is all speculation on my part, but I think it's probably less likely that, and it was more, hey, what is it? The Walking Dead company, Skybound, probably.
That sounds right.
So like, hey, Skybound, we'll pay you $5 million. I'm making up a number, and we'll pay you this money, and now we get to make a Walking Dead video game.
And they keep all the profits?
I don't know.
That would be my guess.
It's hard for us to.
Yeah.
Or like, there's 2 ways that they set it up. They set it up that way, right? Like, we'll pay you money, and now we have the rights to license your property, and we can make a game. Or they do it the way Damon's describing, where you're gonna get $4 for every single copy of our game we sell.
This is happening though. I mean, as I was saying, THQ sold off the properties they owned, and other people made those THQ games. There's a difference when there's licenses. We don't know how that'll affect it, but we do know that games from back in the day that are licensed are probably they are really hard to dig up and re-release. And like the Disney Afternoon Collection was astonishing when that came out, because it took Capcom and Disney's participation to put out like an old DuckTales game or something, which was never on Virtual Console. And it was never on any other way to like replay those old games. And now, you have to do that legwork. So like, I'm sure it'll be just as difficult, but somebody might think there's money in it and then want to invest in that and figure it out.
So THQ Nordic or someone will, buy up the license to buy up the ability to repackage and resell all of Telltale's games, and then will do their best to, put out some mega collection on Steam and Switch and whatever to recoup that cost. And we'll continue, paying out people.
But who knows when they evaporate on store shelves, because there were hard copies of some of these games. Oh, yeah. And let alone in like the PlayStation Store and stuff. I don't know when it'll just leave Steam forever.
Then the other wrinkle is sometimes those licenses don't exist into perpetuity, right? So sometimes maybe Telltale, and again, this is all me speculating here, but like it's not uncommon to say, we have the rights to make and sell a Walking Dead game for 10 years. That's what we have. And then you see games just disappear off Steam store shelves. So like
the Marvel games.
Yeah, like the Marvel games.
The Spider-Man games, just one day.
Yep.
Are no longer there.
Yeah, like Activision just doesn't have the right to sell Spider-Man games anymore because now Marvel took those rights back.
So you look on the PSN, Steam.
Yeah.
All gone.
So that is a possibility here that maybe those licenses will expire, but sometimes that's also not the case. Maybe it's like the game that you made, you can continue, making and selling.
The unfinished final season of Walking Dead has already disappeared from the PlayStation and Xbox stores.
Well, I feel like that has more to do with the fact that it's just never going to be complete. Like, what happens to people that bought that season?
People bought the whole season pass. Yeah.
Actually, do you get a refund?
I don't know.
I've
seen
money
to refund?
Steam reviews, and some people are saying they're getting refunds, and then some people are saying that I don't know. I think it's whatever you select. Some people were saying that they're past the I played it for 2 hours, so now I don't get a refund, and I don't know. That's so weird. Don't pre-order games.
Surely that also has to be just Steam and those storefronts just taking it on the nose, being like, look, people got hosed on this one, so
Yeah, it could be. Well, it's a totally crazy, totally sad situation that, as Justin points out, is still unfolding. So we'll definitely sort of keep following that here.
Major bummer.
Yeah. In better news, Castlevania Requiem has been announced for PlayStation 4. That is a bundle that includes Symphony of the Night and Rondo of Blood, which has a storied history.
Yep.
Rondo of Blood actually came out first on the PC Engine in Japan, which was the TurboGrafx 16 over here. And then they ported a version of that to the Super Nintendo called Dracula X.
Well, it was on the disc version. It was a CD.
Yeah.
For it wasn't like you couldn't play it on TurboGrafx 16.
It was a fancy game.
32-bit game.
It was doing fancier things than the SNES was capable of.
Yeah.
So it was a very much downgraded version. Sam thinks it's nigh on unplayable.
Oh yeah. It was ported to the Super NES as Dracula X, and I have the cartridge, and it's just really slow and crappy, and nothing like Rondo of Blood. Rondo of Blood is a cool linear Castlevania game.
So then
it's not like Symphony of the Night.
But then they took Dracula X, fixed some problems, released it on the PSP as Dracula X Chronicles.
But it was like semi-port, semi-remake. It had new graphics.
Yeah. But it was a much more playable version.
It became this like storied Castlevania game where like, one of the best or maybe even the best of that style of Castlevania game. But it took on kind of a life of its own for American gamers because we didn't really have a chance. Like it was hard to find and hard to play in sort of its original, supposedly really superior form.
Yeah. And then that original Rondo of Blood did make its way to the Virtual Console.
Eventually,
Wii,
finally.
Eventually.
And its reputation only grew because Symphony of the Night is a direct sequel to Rondo
Symphony
of
of
Blood.
the Night, although it's more of the...
Yeah.
I mean, Symphony of the Night is the reason we have the term...
Castlevania. Or Metroidvanias, yeah.
And
that was the
and
first
we don't
one
need to open that can of worms again. However, there was already a Castlevania that did that. Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest.
Not really. No.
What are you talking about? It's just a Metroid game.
No.
What's not Metroid about it? You can go anywhere.
Same.
You can go to any of the castles. You can walk right to the end if you want.
I don't think it's quite the same. You're
right. It's exactly the same.
Well, anyway, Symphony of the Night is a much superior game to Castlevania 2.
Well, worse music, but better everything else.
No,
the
music
Symphony of the Night
really
so good.
It's
But
so
when
good.
it becomes nighttime in Castlevania 2,
Yeah.
Well, it is a
What a horrible night to have a curse. So
Just wait a minute for that thing to pop up. You're like, cool. I'm like halfway over it. Minute 9, all the shops are closed. Come on with
cool that Symphony of the Night's finally coming to PS4 because it's been on Xbox for a while.
Dude, I replayed that game on 360 backwards compatibility on my Xbox One, which, by the way, I know I did it last week, but kudos to Microsoft for how amazing and good Xbox backwards compatibility is now. You can just take any old Xbox disc and put it in your system, and then you just have that game now. It's incredible.
It's cool.
And what was the point I was making? Oh,
Symphony
of the Night, still dope.
Dude, it's still good.
There's a disc for Xbox?
No, so Symphony of the Night didn't
That's a digital game, but the digitals are backwards compatible.
Oh, yeah. If you bought it.
Compatible.
So like it's amazing because you can buy old Xbox games digitally and then just have them on your Xbox One. Like I just bought SSX3 to replay that as well. But if you have an old Xbox disc, you put it in your Xbox One, that verifies.
No,
your
I know.
purchase.
I just wanted, but not for Castlevania. Nope. So, but since you bought Castlevania 10 years ago, you can play it.
No, I bought it now.
Yeah, you can go back and
still
just buy it
too.
now and it'll work.
Yeah.
But
That
that one's still like 4x3, has the borders and stuff. This one's getting up-resed
to 4K.
Like it's not going to be. It's not a remake. Like it's not beautiful, but it's saying like
I think
it will look.
Yeah,
Well, exactly.
widescreen
Like,
4K is pretty remakey.
yeah, it's just up-resing though. It's
may
not.
be-
They're not redoing the textures.
Yeah. I take your point that the new one is actually doing things to the actual presentation of the game to modernize it.
Yeah.
But I do want to clarify the Xbox One, it came to Xbox Live Arcade, and that's the version that's backwards compatible now, and it may or may not have already done some of that. So I don't actually recall specifically, even though I just played it.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. Castlevania has been a portable series for a long time.
Yeah.
I think it would be better as a portable series still. But it'll be really fun on your television. It always was.
That is the question, why or when is this coming to Switch?
Switch.
You
Put it on
play
the Switch.
Just put it on the Switch.
Just play remote play on your PlayStation Vita. Every PlayStation 4 game is a portable game when you play it remote play on your Vita.
Yeah.
Do not do that. Don't play Castlevania on your Vita.
And as weird and unaccessible as Rondo of Blood has been, like don't get excited about that like over Symphony of the Night. Like Symphony of the Night is a 10.
Symphony of the Night is a 10.
Yeah, and Rondo of Blood is
if
not.
they fix the loading
It's a 10
time,
today.
which I'm assuming they will,
Yeah.
it's going to be an even tenor. So
music is
good.
great.
You
Yeah.
got your wooden sword.
Dear,
Oh my god.
A lot of that music's from other Castlevanias.
Yeah.
that's true too.
It's like one thing that Castlevania reuses sprites and reuses music to it's almost shameless, but then they get away with it because it's sort of nostalgic, and I'm like, there's that Bone Man,
Yeah.
there's that skeleton again, I know you.
As long as they don't change the voice acting. The voice acting's perfect.
That's really, really good.
What is it, man?
A Miserable Pile of Secrets. Is that
Die,
We're doing it way
don't-
too good.
You don't belong
What
in
is
this
a man?
world.
What is a man?
It's not by my heads. Once again,
Made flesh.
it's so good.
All right, let's check in with the listeners.
Hey.
Listeners, remember you can always reach us at the email address gamescoop@ign.com, just like Tony did. No, just Tony.
Regular Tony style.
This is just Tony. He says, all hail the Omega Cops. I recently got the urge to rewatch the ending of Mass Effect 3. I had played the entire trilogy long ago and wanted a refresh on how amazing those games are. As one of my favorite trilogies, it got me hoping it would become part of the PETS initiative. Does anyone know what that is?
PETS? Pets?
Pets Initiative.
Pets Initiative?
I don't know what that is. All right. My question for you all, what do you think the chances are of seeing a Mass Effect collection coming to Switch? Also, what are some other trilogies?
Port everything to Switch.
Port everything to Switch.
Choo choo.
Where did that come from?
Or
Have you heard
port.
that? Or
No.
Yeah,
That's
port
amazing.
everything to Switch.
That
I
was
mean,
amazing.
I've heard it in the sense that I say it all
No,
the
that's
time.
great. That's great.
I
The
support
Pets Initiative.
I support the Pets Initiative.
The Pets.
What if it's not that and you just said that?
Port everything.
Well,
Switch.
if
Yeah.
that's what it means, I support the
Now they're
Pets
going to
Initiative.
take that clip.
Yeah, great. Also, what are some other trilogies would you like to see that were on other platforms on the Switch?
All of them.
So first of all, Mass Effect trilogy on the Switch, they could do that.
I don't
They
think
could do that.
I don't think
And
they will.
the question is it worth the effort to do that? And
I'd like to see the Assassin's Creed Ezio trilogy.
did the trilogy came to Wii U, right?
No one knows.
Wait, the Ezio trilogy?
No, Mass Effect.
No, only Mass Effect 3.
Just Mass Effect 3 did. Okay. So they could definitely put the trilogy on the Switch
Yeah.
if they wanted to, but
Why wouldn't they?
well, Mark says no.
I don't
Justin
think
says yes.
I just think that there's no hope to get a Mass Effect trilogy anytime soon, regardless.
But why?
I don't know. Ask EA. They just said they're not
Ask
interested.
EA.
I don't know if the Switch could run Mass Effect.
You don't think so? The Wii U
U
ran
could
it.
run Mass Effect 3.
Yeah, but it wasn't a great Mass Effect 3. And cramming 3 on there, maybe it could.
I think they could do it.
Those
Just
cartridges are so
Could
small.
they sell,
It's such a tiny cart.
You can buy 400 gig
SD card.
memory card, SD card drive for less than $100.
We'll give you the link.
But yeah, as for other trilogies, I think probably the Adventure Island trilogy is important to get on there.
That is extremely important.
Yeah.
Bring back Adventure Island 1 and 2, and 3 is interesting.
Was 3 also on NES?
Well, look, yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there's Super Adventure Island
Yeah.
on Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Probably the Ninja Gaiden trilogy, the NES Ninja Gaiden trilogy would be important to get on there. And finally, the Bonk's Adventure, the first 3 Bonk's Adventures. Because
What about Lolo? There's 3 Lolos.
Super Bonk came to Super Nintendo, but those first 3 Bonk's Revenge and
Just Bonk.
But Super
Bonk 3.
Yeah.
There's a third one that's on TurboGrafx that didn't come to.
It doesn't even
Nintendo
have
platform.
the first 3 Marios yet.
That's true.
Missing Mario 2.
We are missing Mario 2.
Like,
Yeah.
That's a good trilogy.
they didn't even put
have on
Lost
the
Levels
Switch.
on there.
What about Mario Party 1, 2, and 3?
Oh boy, the classics.
How about Super Mario Party?
Yeah. How about it?
That one.
It's out soon.
Going through this thought process of like what game trilogies do I want made me realize that game trilogies are less of a thing and less iconic than movie trilogies. The movie trilogy is a thing in a way that like if you have 3 hit games, you're just gonna make 11
Yeah,
more.
you
don't
have to keep
stop
making
at
them.
3.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
I would like Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9. We're 2/3 of the way there.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't care.
You want
about
8?
Nah.
You want 7, 9, 12.
The Switch isn't powerful enough
But it's getting
for the
7,
draw
9, 12,
system
so
of
we're
Final
good.
Fantasy 8. Can't handle
Oh,
it.
Yeah.
Wait. The what system?
I'm making a joke.
Okay, I'm like, what?
Just goofing.
The draw system in Final Fantasy 8.
Okay. Okay.
All right. I'm sure there's some other trilogies, but like I would love the Tomb Raider, the new Tomb Raider reboot trilogy. That will never happen.
What about Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and 3?
I think you're solid 1, 2, and 3.
I just want to play 1.
Yeah. Maybe it'll be on the PS Classic.
Maybe.
You never know. It is the 20th anniversary of Metal Gear Solid this year.
Sticks.
And Metal Gear's cross-platform now.
Are we getting, did I dream this? Are we getting Ace Attorney 1, 2, and 3? Did that get announced?
Yes. Well, it's coming to like PS4 and
Oh.
PC and all that.
Is it coming to Switch?
You already had it on DS. That's enough.
I don't think I've ever played an Ace Attorney game.
Oh, Damon, you'll love them.
Will I though?
You just
Yeah.
need to play 1. They're
Dude,
great.
they're great.
Okay.
I played the most recent one for Capture here, and I did not like it at all.
Well,
It was too much
Choose
talking.
Professor Layton rules.
Producer
Who said
Dan
that?
prefers
Who's-
Professor
Put
Layton
Professor Layton.
on the Switch. There's
It
no
came out
Professor
on the
Layton
App
there?
Store.
Yeah, that's true. This is Vermin Hasanovic in the Netherlands. And he says, I was wrong about The Legend of Zelda. Allow him to explain. He says, I was so wrong about Legend of Zelda on NES. In the past, I've tried to play this game a few times, but after a few screens, I lost interest and moved on. The lack of instructions didn't help. Now that the game is on the Nintendo Switch Online, I gave it another try, and boy, was I wrong. This Zelda is just great.
It's Breath of the Wild. Exactly.
I was
in
amazed
2D.
how much of the Zelda elements they got right the first time.
Hell yeah.
The sense of discovery, the items, the world, the music, the tunic changing color. Plus, you get a freaking raft. How cool is that?
The raft is cool.
This is the 2D Breath of the Wild with better dungeons.
Yeah, and you find the raft in a basement.
Okay, look. Like you like Zelda 1 as much as you want, but who's that excited about a raft?
He's excited about
Why
it.
is that raft so
There's also a whistle.
This clearly is a
they
masterpiece.
put in Mario 3?
And I would imagine it had the same impact on players back then as Breath of the Wild has on players today. The only issues I had was the lack of story and instructions. Maybe if I had the game's manual, this wouldn't have been a
manual's
problem, but it's clear that this game was ahead of its time.
Oh, yeah.
I was wrong to judge this game based on a few screens. After playing through most of the game, I love it. Was there a time you had the same issue, judging a game based on a short play, finding out later that you judged it too soon?
You got to get your hands on the secret text.
Hey, I have some good news.
Sacred text.
If you want more story for Zelda, there's also an entire cartoon series.
Yeah.
Excuse me, princess.
You
Really
play,
fills in a lot of
play the story in Zelda 1. Just because there's no text on screen doesn't mean there's no story. The story is he's going into a spooky haunted tree.
Yeah, he has a crazy adventure.
Yeah.
He accidentally dropped a bomb and it fell out of his pocket and it blew up and exposed a secret stairwell that goes down into the ground.
Creepy man.
I'm
gave
trying to
you
think
a
of games that I actually
sword.
actively didn't like. But then, Zelda was one of them for me. I only liked that game 20 years after it came out.
You didn't like The Legend of Zelda back in the day?
No. I played it at a friend's house a lot, and I was like, this is all right.
Oh.
But now I love it. Bionic Commando is another one.
You didn't like it right away?
I didn't get it. I was like, why can't I jump? This sucks. But now it's wonderful.
But you got a grappling hook.
Yeah.
Those are cool.
I was going to tell the story at Beyond Live, but I
Here we go.
didn't get to go.
Got-
I played Final Fantasy VII.
House is on fire.
My house was on fire. It wasn't, but we thought it was going to. And I played Final Fantasy VII, and I'm like, why am I telling this spiky-haired dude to attack instead of just attacking? and it was basically my first
like
interaction
turn-based
with the turn-based RPG.
Huh.
And I was like, this sucks. I'm not playing this. And I just didn't play PlayStations because like he had the person who had that game also had like Legend of Dragoon. I'm like, these suck. Like, are these PlayStation games? Like,
especially if we're playing with a friend, it's like that's the worst thing ever.
Yeah, right? I was like, this sucks. I'm not doing this. And then eventually, like I don't know, probably a year or more later, then now I'm huge Final Fantasy fan.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about, and it's something I've misjudged. There's definitely franchises that I feel like I waited too long to give a shot to, but I'm having a hard time.
What about Yakuza?
That's what I'm thinking of. Is like I kind of slept on that franchise for a decade.
I kind of misjudged Breath of the Wild. I didn't really like Breath of the Wild the first time I played it, and didn't play it for a year. Then went back and
man, I did really like Breath of the Wild from the jump, but that is a game that's so different from everything else.
Yeah, I missed all the Office conversations and everything because by the time I played it, it wasn't even that long ago.
I mean, Metal Gear I never liked until 5 came out, but I tried really hard. I tried 1 remake and then 3.
Twin Snakes?
I've tried several times. Maybe got 3 for DS or just 3DS.
Oh
3DS,
yeah, I forgot about
just
that.
to play it and try to figure out why people love it so much. It's a lot of people's favorite game ever.
Yeah,
and I really want to know why, and I respect that. Same thing with Final Fantasy VII. Like I've never played that game, so I'm really curious why people have that game as their number one. So I'm open-minded to it.
I guess I would say Baldur's Gate is that for me. Although it's not quite like I played it and didn't like it. Like I recognize the excellence in it, but the game is just old enough that it's just you kind of got to be in the right mindset.
Yeah.
Look, I just have to accept that there's certain things about this game that just are feeling a little bit dated. And once you get past that, you get immersed in the world, and it's probably one of the greatest RPGs ever made. Not probably is.
I had that experience with Assassin's Creed Origins last year.
Yeah,
Did not grab me right away with the first few hours, and I was like, this is not clicking for me. But then like 6 months later, and then in the new year, I gave it another try and was like, whoa, this is great now.
That's really cool.
Same thing.
That was
with Origins. It was too busy when it came out. Like I was playing Odyssey.
There was a lot of games coming out at the same time. But also they really changed up the combat style in Origins, but it's actually similar to God of War. So after playing God of War, I went back to Origins and I was like, I get this. This makes
R1
more
and
sense.
R2, man.
Yeah. Why am I
I switched
the trigger
them.
button? Yeah.
I went to a preview event for Odyssey and they made you use the R1 and R2.
Yeah.
And I just could not play the game. I was terrible.
Wow.
And then, so when I got Odyssey, the first thing I did,
Origins?
No, Odyssey. First thing I did was switch the controls to square is your attack and all that good stuff.
All right.
I'm always too afraid to customize my controls.
It's time
to just go for it.
Oh, we were just doing that today.
Yep.
In the video game.
Accidentally, yeah.
This is a time for a new segment called 20 Seconds to Justin. As suggested by the Brazilian guy in Rio de Janeiro.
Okay.
Says, Damon, please give Justin 20 seconds. We got the timer up here.
Oh, boy.
And ask him to name as many games as he can where your character wears a hat.
Oh, God.
Oh.
Ready? We're going to go in 10 seconds, so you can start collecting your thoughts.
I'm not ready. I can't think of any.
3, 2, 1. 20 seconds.
Well, you got Mario 1, 2, and 3, and Super Mario World and Super Mario 64. Any military shooter in all the Battlefield and Call of Duty games.
You gotta get the names.
Wearing a helmet. Call of Duty 1, 2, 3, and 4, and Battlefield 1942 and Battlefield 1. Your character is Samus has got a helmet on.
That's time.
That's really
You
hard.
didn't say the name of Metroid, so you got about 20.
I mean, that's a lot.
We went through the Mario games, the military shooters, and Samus.
So
Yeah.
the games where you wear a hat, Mario and Call of Duty. That's it.
But that eliminates a lot of games.
So now when we do 20 questions, you ask for the hat and he says yes.
Yeah.
You know it's either a Mario game or a Call of Duty.
When the Brazilian guy puts it that way,
Yeah.
maybe it's not such a good question after all.
Thank you for playing 20 Seconds to Justin. This is Brian Dotson from Baldwin, Missouri.
I didn't like that.
He says, I got into your podcast about 6 months ago, found the conversations you have very fun and interesting. In an episode a while back, I heard about a wiki for my favorite portion of the show, Video Game 20 Questions. After I Googled the wiki, I was very disheartened to see that it has been abandoned for nigh on 1 year.
Was it Tower of the Hand?
I made it my mission to fix this and listened to each neglected podcast all the way through. Attached to this email, you will find a spreadsheet with stats going all the way back to episode 453, including names of participants, duration of game, and number of guesses. You might be interested in knowing that over the past year, Goose Camp is currently on their longest win streak in the past year with 5 games.
Don't say that.
Yeah.
You have over the past year, you have a win-loss ratio of 37-23.
That's pretty good for games chosen.
That's including the 100 questions game that we played. And the shortest game was on episode 462 at 1 minute and 44 seconds. I wish I knew which game that was, but that's pretty fast.
How long was it?
1 minute and 44 seconds. Sometime in the future, I'll figure out how to get this information into the wiki. Sam, how does he get the information into the wiki?
I don't know what the problem might be, but hit me up on Twitter.
I think you just have to do it.
Or do you have his email address? I can get in touch with you.
He says, yeah, I do. He says, would it be possible to add a time category to the site so it can be shown? Does he mean time of the game? I'm not sure.
Yeah, like maybe add to the table or something on the wiki. The wiki is editable by anybody publicly. There's an edit button right there. Log into IGN, go to the page, and just hit edit and go nuts. Like, we can help you with editing. We can reverse your edits. You can't break it. It's no problem.
And Brian says, oh, and if someone could announce the total of guesses at the end, it would make my life so much easier. I can't hear how many of Damon's beautiful fingers are up when I listen to the podcast. I do call out when we're at 10 and 15, but yeah, we'll try to remember to let them know exactly how many guesses we went through to get to the answer. And that brings us to Video Game 20 Questions. Our suggestion this week comes from Jason. Let the questioning begin.
Now I feel all self-conscious about it. Does this game have like a map that you can access?
All right, 20 seconds. How many games can you name with a map?
Does this game have a map?
Yeah. Can you see an in-game map? Can you access a map in the game?
No.
Is this from before 1990?
It's not.
No.
It's not Mario 3, guys.
Does your character wear a hat in this game?
You son of a bitch.
Oh, no.
Probably at some point, but that's not like a major. It's not a major characteristic.
I think it's probably Uncharted.
It's likely at some point you would have cause to wear.
So it's not Call of Duty. We've ruled that out.
Yeah.
In those games.
Did this game come out before January 1st, 2000?
No.
It's still
Is this on the contemporary consoles, including PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Switch?
Yes.
Oh.
That's 5.
It'd still be Uncharted 4.
But you don't have a map.
Right.
True. You don't have a traditional map. He opens maps sometimes.
You may have an opportunity to wear a hat.
Okay. Well, Mario Odyssey. He doesn't. Oh no, he always wears a hat in that game.
That game is pretty hat focused, Mark.
Yeah.
Do you remember how dramatic it was in Mario 64 when the snowman blew Mario's hat off?
Yeah.
Like, what the? And it's like a whole thing to get it back.
Yeah.
Yeah. The monkey can also steal your hat.
I know, and then you got to chase him down. Mario takes more damage.
I bet that really hampers your speed runs.
A lot more damage. It messes you up. There's no hat speed run.
Does this game have multiplayer?
Not in any sort of like traditional sense.
What?
It's not
What?
Again.
Is it 1-2 switch?
Is this video game? I would say open world, but it's every open world game.
It is contemporary.
Yeah.
Is it exclusive to one console?
No.
Is this a pets game?
No, that's not a real question.
Why? Is it on
every
Switch?
game.
A pets game?
Is it on Switch?
Oh, put everything on Switch. I thought you meant.
But
like
a Pets game isn't on Switch.
Well, it could be afterwards. A pets game becomes a. Is this on Switch?
No.
All right.
Oh, it's not on Switch.
Well,
Okay.
pets then.
But it's not exclusive. But it's not on Switch. Yeah. Okay. Does your character use a gun in this game?
No.
Is this game developed in America?
Yes. That's 10.
So it's a punchy kicky game or a passive game developed in America for probably Xbox and PlayStation. Maybe not. But it's not on the Switch and it's not an exclusive.
And there's no
traditional
can't open a
multiplayer.
map.
There's no map.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're boned.
That's nothing.
No, we're all right.
That's no game.
10 questions, we got nothing.
Could be The Witness.
Is this a console exclusive?
No, we already asked that.
We did?
Yeah.
What is it?
Not a console exclusive.
What if I want to ask about
Do you
mobile.
fight things in this game?
Yes.
This could be Journey.
Was this game well received?
Moderately, yes. If it's a binary answer, yes.
Okay. So I was wondering if it was Hellblade or something like that, but it doesn't sound like it.
You fight things.
Really well received.
You fight things, but you
Hellblade.
don't shoot things.
Right.
Do you fight things with your feet and fists, or do you fight things with a sword? It needs to be a yes or no question.
Yeah.
Are you slashing things?
Yes.
Could be Bayonetta, although that was more than moderately well received. It was also
And
an
it does
exclusive.
sound
There's nothing in the recent
sound
systems
a
that
lot
that.
like Hellblade. There's something
But
there.
that game was really well
But that
received.
game's like super well received. Yeah. I don't know. There's something there though. Or
There's
not.
just a lot of games that.
Or
could
there's
be-
not.
Well, what's the
Good point,
Think about
Rick.
the traditional
one of-
multiplayer answer. That was really strange.
Yeah. Could be a Dark Souls where you can leave messages for other players. Could be
Oh.
could be Dark Souls
No
3.
maps.
All right,
Okay.
Could not be Bloodborne.
Wait, but made by an American developer.
True, but there was Lords of the Fallen. I think that was
Yes.
that might have been Canadian actually.
Can you play as a woman?
I don't remember.
This is a weird game, guys.
Yeah.
I'm
It's a weird
going to give you a free one. I don't remember if you can play as a woman.
Is this do people consider this an RPG?
No.
Does it have realistic graphics?
No.
Or not even close?
Yeah,
That's 15.
because if it was cell shade or something, we'd be closer.
There's
but-
no.
I mean,
so it's not an RPG.
I don't
no.
want to get hung up on that question. So let's say
Yeah.
it's like, no, it's not realistic.
15 questions.
Oh boy.
Actually, I don't want to get hung up on that question.
Well, we won't get hung up on it then.
Realistic. Name some games that you think have
Assassin's Creed,
Yeah.
name
Call of Duty,
and one more.
Metroid Prime.
Dark Souls.
Metroid Prime has realistic. See, that's what trips me up. You think Metroid Prime has realistic graphics?
I think
this
as
is why I've never
opposed,
liked this question.
as opposed to cell shaded graphics.
Those are the two options. Is
No.
it realistic?
Well, those are not the two options.
Fortnite, I would say, does not have
Yeah,
realistic
Fortnite's
graphics.
cartoony.
But
That's
It's
like a
cartoons.
It's like a Pixar game versus like these humans look like humans.
Yeah.
Okay, humans look like humans. Then I want to say it. Yeah, it does have realistic graphics.
Oh,
Great. Well, I'm glad we got through that question.
not Spider-Man.
All right,
Super
that's,
helpful.
that's another freebie. We'll just say that's another freebie. So you're
think-
still at 14.
You don't think it's Spider-Man?
I was just joking because the humans look kind of
Spider-Man has a map.
but it's totally got a map.
Yeah,
and he totally
Spider-Man's
wears
got a map.
Who has a mask?
Well, yeah. What is it?
Should we ask if this was available at retail? Does that even help if like it's a downloadable game?
It doesn't help me.
No.
I'm still coming back to you fight things, but you slash. Was it yes or no to slashing things?
It was a yes.
That was a yes.
So you slash things, but you don't shoot things.
You don't do that.
That's like a pretty good I don't have the game, but that like helps us zero in, and it's Western made. It's made in America.
Oh yeah. Okay. Let's think.
It has some sort of selectable character because Damon's not quite sure if you can play as a man or woman.
Or maybe it's not selectable, but maybe
yeah.
you just play as a bunch of things all the time.
And it's kind of got realistic graphics.
It's not Battle Block Theater.
That's what I was thinking, but I
Does this-
guess not.
Is this game part of a series?
Now,
Every question has hemming and hawing.
Is this a game?
Everyone.
name a game that's part of a series.
It's probably
Mass Effect?
This isn't
Call
20,
of
20
Duty?
questions for Sam.
name a game that's part of a series.
How
Is
many-
that a trick question?
How many games can you
all right.
name in
Let's see what you
20
think.
seconds?
So there's
What-
two reasons that this would make him hem and haw. Either it's a spin-off or it's a license.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to be blank 3.
Right.
Name a game that you think is part of a series.
Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest.
Yeah. Uncharted.
Because it's a sequel?
Then how is Sam's answer going to help you?
Uncharted 4.
Okay, one more.
Ultimate Spider-Man.
Okay, this.
That was just a joke. I don't actually think that's part of the series.
Spider-Man
No, I know.
Wait, is it?
No, it's not.
Okay. Well, then don't trip me up. What's another?
Um,
Is this game part of a series?
Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
I'm going to have to say no.
Okay.
The game is not part of a series.
All right. Is it based on a license?
Yes.
Yeah. Could be Wolverine.
4 more questions.
Wolverine. It's not from the contemporary systems.
It's not?
No, the X-Men Origins.
Was it one generation back?
360, yeah.
So,
it's based off a license. That's such a good clue.
This is going to bite me in the ass. That serious thing, man.
Could be.
Well, realistic Eve licensed games are not that common right now. Especially with multiplayer that's not considered multiplayer.
Right. The license could be Star Wars. Could be.
It's not Battlefront.
Well, it can't be Force Awakens because that did get a direct sequel.
Force Awakens.
I was trying to think of another lightsaber-y slashy game.
Also not.
Could it be a Lego game or something like that?
The only Star Wars games on this is Battlefront.
You're right. Is it based off of a superhero license?
No. 3 questions left.
Is it based off a movie license?
No.
Okay, that's good.
2 questions left.
Not really.
Yeah, because it means it's not a movie or superheroes. Those are the biggest licensed things.
So it's a book.
It's toys.
Or television show.
It's toys or comics or television, and there's not a lot of that stuff. So it sounds like a zombie game.
You get a
where you
question?
slash zombies.
And a guess.
Zombie slasher, maybe. Or something based off a TV show.
Like, what about that weird Walking Dead game that was not Telltale's The Walking Dead? It was the
Overkill.
Yeah, but you use a gun, not Overkill.
Not Overkill.
The one where it was Norman Reedus and
that might have been the last system.
Are you thinking of PT?
It definitely was. Yeah.
You thinking of Death Stranding?
Death Stranding.
Could that be part of a series and on a license?
Yeah.
It's not out yet though. And it probably has a map, so he wouldn't be able to answer.
I wish we knew. I wish we would have got that licensed one a few questions ago, because then we would have gotten there, I'm sure. But now we only get one more to narrow it down.
And American games that are based on licenses are unusual, because there's a bunch of Japanese games that are.
Yeah, the American that's.
What question could help us narrow this down based on the licensing?
False spot.
So based on a license, could be a Tom Clancy game.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But there's not a Tom Clancy slashy game.
Yeah, that's true.
There's fantasy stuff. Is there anything that came out recently? The Witcher.
I'm just thinking of American developers, Ubisoft.
Witcher's pretty.
That was the last
They're
gen,
all
though.
American.
That was last gen.
Really?
What? Witcher?
Oh no, it's not.
Witcher's
Current
this
gen.
gen.
But it's also part
Witcher
of a series.
3. Yeah, it's obviously
It's not a
Part of a series, not American made.
Obviously part of a series, right?
And he uses a machine gun in that game. No.
Yeah.
And it has a map.
Is it helpful to know if it's based off a TV show or a comic book or something like that?
Yeah.
Well, we have to pick one.
What about if we just asked if it's sci-fi, and then went with? I don't know if that helps, or fantasy.
Sure.
And it can't be sci-fi because you'd have guns in that. You should think, right? I don't know what to do. I don't think we're gonna get this one.
I just want to remind you guys, you're on your longest winning streak of the year
son of
right
a-
now.
Oh. Wait.
Well received, licensed. It's just so weird. I don't know why we can't get it.
No.
How about in the control room? You got anything for us?
Could be the Scott Pilgrim 2D brawler. That doesn't have realistic graphics.
I was just going to say, don't ask about comics, because that's essentially what superheroes would be. So
Good call. Good call.
All right. Is it? I'm just gonna. Is it based off of a television show license?
Yes.
All right, so what are the big ones? Walking Dead, but it's not that because you're going to use a gun. Game of Thrones.
Yeah, but there was no Game of Thrones slashy game.
Oh, and not this year.
There is.
But your character might have slashed in that Game of Thrones.
He said, do you slash stuff? He didn't say it was a hack and slash. So technically, Game of Thrones, you do slash
And
things.
somebody wears a
but
hat, but you
Game
play
of
as a woman
Thrones,
for sure.
Not this generation, but it's probably a Telltale
No,
game.
it is this generation.
Game of Thrones?
Telltale's Game of Thrones? Yeah, of course. It came
Oh, I
out
thought
like
it
2 years
was. I
ago.
thought it was 360.
I don't know.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
I worked here 2 years ago.
Yeah, you worked here while that game was out.
Thanks for letting me know.
I don't know. I don't have it.
What? Okay. Don't give it up yet. It's got to be. Oh, I don't know.
I think we should just go with Telltale's Game of Thrones.
Wait, he said
Is
it
there
wasn't
anything else?
wasn't a superhero.
Not a superhero game, but
Telltale
is
Batman.
Nope.
What about Wolf Among Us?
It's not a TV show, dude.
Oh no, he said it was a TV. Oh, Wolf Among Us is not a TV show. Oh,
There's just no
you think
games
it's
that
gonna be
come out.
Game of Thrones? We have no more questions.
It's not on
left.
Switch. It's from Contemporary
it.
Things. I
Yeah,
don't-
you have to guess the game.
yeah. Is this Telltale's Game of Thrones?
Is this Telltale's Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh! Amazing.
Sure is. Nicely done. Nicely
Wow.
job, everybody.
Wow.
Yeah. So
What year?
Realistic graphics. Does it look like? Yeah, it looks. It's made to look like it's like a slightly cartoon version of the actors in the show.
So that would be 100% a game you would say no. This is not realistic graphics.
That is.
Yeah, because it's cell shaded. It's like supposed to look like.
It's not cell shaded though. Like
It's
not like Wind
stylized.
Waker. Yeah.
It's more Fortnite and less PUBG.
Like if you took a screenshot and you blurred it, you would not say, "Oh, those are humans." You're like, "That's a cartoon."
Well, I don't know.
You know what I'm thinking of? Why I felt like it was a long time ago? The other Game of Thrones
other
game.
Game of Thrones game. Yeah.
That was real crappy.
Yeah, it was an
Big
RPG.
RPG.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So not part of a series, even though it was a series.
Yes.
It was released
Yeah.
episodically.
What was the thing
Very
that
good.
you thought would
Very
bite you the most? It was
The series
that
thing,
series
yeah.
one.
Series thing.
I think it's clearly not part of a series.
I mean, I didn't want you guys to say,
Well,
but it
there's
was
six.
a series.
There's 6 episodes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that.
It's probably called a Telltale series.
Yeah.
Or something, but it's like,
Yeah.
It totally is.
nicely,
We did it.
All right.
nicely done, everybody.
We did it.
All right, Sam, I know you got to run.
Yep.
I will excuse you. Everybody, please be excited for GameScoop 500 next week. That is all the scoops we have for you. Remember, you can always reach us at the email address, gamescoop@ign.com. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
My name is Damon. This is IGN GameScoop. And we're out.